interviews earlier, and it was 2 minutes late. Now we're a little early, so that's a good thing. Right? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Look, I'm still stuck in the time warp. Good evening, everyone. It is about, 3 minutes till 6. This is our evening session with Chat with the Chief. We're just going to have some conversation, some dialogue with you and the community and citizens. Kelly King, my friend, is with me tonight. Make sure I don't mess anything up. She's going to be working with us. Matt took care of me this afternoon, so I felt like I had a pretty good session. So the first question I'm going to ask, or first request, is that anyone who's tuned in, if you would just let us know if we're coming across okay visually and audibly, that you can hear us and see us. I want to make sure that I'm seeing a little red thing in the top corner that says live, Kelly. So I think that's a start, right? It's our first. Yeah, hey, you got to celebrate the small wins. You know, you got the steps. So yeah, so I just if anyone logged in yet, if you just let us know that hear us okay and see us okay. Yeah, so we had a really good afternoon session. We talked a little bit about some of the upcoming events that we have in our city. It was a good day for me today after a long weekend. Man, it was crazy. And you know, we talked about it at our command staff meeting on Monday that next week is school. You know, and the first football game, the first high school football game, is August 29th. So I'm excited about that. We turn right back around and have one Saturday afternoon. So I'm really excited about that. I enjoy going out to the games. But it seems like just like a month ago we were celebrating Thanksgiving and Christmas, and now we're just about 3 months away from it. So it's just this year has flown by. And Saturday was just a huge event in our city, huge day in our city, with all the back to school events. It's an Ivy Baptist's event. It was an Achievable Dream. We were over on Legacy of Hope on Buxton, had a really nice event. I got to interact with some young people there. Right there on Marshall, behind the Achievable Dream Academy. They had great food. I walked across the street like, here, Chief, you're there. Oh my gosh! I got to do several of those locations with Chief Rogers, my partner with the fire department. And then from there, I was able to go over to Dr. Cherry, had an event at the Fields house where kids had to come up and do like little tasks, and everyone was giving backpacks away and clothing and school supplies. There's a lot of events, but man, I just really had a really good time. It was good energy. It felt like good energy. Then from there we had I was over at I got to see Councilman Ely and actually at Achievable Dream. Michael Bick was there just celebrating back to school. A lot of vendors there. When I got there, they were serving lunch. That was, the line was just people pouring outside, eating and having a good time. It was just a good event. And then we had our celebration with our city at City Center Saturday night. The mayor was there, and others some remarks there on the stage, and we hung out. A lot of vendors, interacted with a lot of people, just walking around talking to people. So I had some I guess you'd call them carnival rides or versions of those. It was just a really good event. Really had a good time on Saturday. And the officers, I appreciate the officers that were working the event. It was just really good. Shabazz, how are you? Oh, it's good to hear from you, my friend. Yeah, it was just a really good event. I hope you're doing well. So far, so good as we winding down. You're on the. I just was talking earlier. I just cannot believe how close we are to the summer being over. It's just flying by. So I'm excited for us to get back to school. We actually had a meeting on Monday at our staff meeting, just going over what we're looking at for first day of school, first week, if you will. SROs are set to go. I think we got some fun things coming out. Kelly, I think we're working on something this week that's kind of fun for school resource officers, giving them a hard time about being back at school. And then, like I said, I'm excited about that first football game and just seeing the kids back in the community. That's going to be a fun week for us as we get back to school. Last Friday, we had it was really nice and well organized. Well, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it was the whole event. It was just, I looked like people had I think I saw your your station where you were at and set up and stuff. It was, and the weather was good too. I mean, it had been hot during the day. I had been out moving around all these different events, and then, man, it just seemed like it got cooled down in the evening. A lot of people out moving around, kids. It was just, I don't know. I just felt like it was really good energy for me. It just felt like it was really good energy. So I'm appreciative of individuals came out. I hope people had a good time. Just a really nice event. Um, I should share with you, we had a press conference on last Friday, myself and the mayor, just to try to be open and transparent and share a little bit with our community on where we were crime-wise for just a little bit past half the year. And I really wanted to focus on the summer. And why the summer? Well, because the city has put a lot of effort, not just the police department, but a lot of effort into addressing community concerns, partnerships over the summer, and we've just seen some really good results. Now, I've said it, and you've seen me, hopefully you've heard me say it. I want to make sure the department is very data-driven, and we can back up what we're saying, making sure that we're accurate with our crime numbers and statistics. But I do understand, and the reason we track things in law enforcement is we want to know, I want to know, are the strategies we're doing, are we seeing crime decrease, or are we seeing crime, we're doing strategies and we're seeing crime increase, and we got to change some different things, right? So what's working, what's not working, what's being successful, we got to double down on those type things. But I would be remiss, and every one of those data points, every one of those statistics, that's an individual, that's a family, it's our neighborhoods, our communities, and I don't lose track of that. I have 2 phone calls that I want to make today before I leave. I'm going to be here a little bit late this evening. 2 individuals that wanted some updates on their cases, and I should put out here on these sessions. The whole reason we do these is just open up some conversation or address any questions, or sometimes people just have some things they want to post or say, which is absolutely fine. But earlier today there were a couple cases that we were talking about, and in some cases, and I'm going to talk mostly violent crime, some cases there's technology, there's cameras right there, there's witnesses there, everything is caught on camera, a quick arrest is made. And on other cases, that's not always the case. There's some cases that we don't have any evidence, or the cameras are there but they don't work, right? The cameras are down, or the business cameras don't work, or we can't retrieve them right away, or we have witnesses who saw exactly what happened and they don't want to come forward. So I know that's frustrating, as you're talking about the loss of a loved one or something that's happened or someone's injured. So I totally understand that. So I want to make sure that we're staying in touch with families and we're talking with families, but some cases just don't get cleared as quick as others. In those cases where we have, I know of 5 right now of individuals who saw the crime occur and have told us who committed that crime, but they don't want to come forward and testify. So what we have to do is find, and as frustrating as that is, I do understand it. Individuals live in communities when we leave. So we just have to find other routes or other venues, other avenues to try to successfully put that case together and deliver a good case to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. And we only get one shot. So I say all that to say is when we're doing the press conference, this year we have had 11 individuals lose their life to homicide. Of the 11 homicides we've had this year, we have cleared or made arrests in 8 of those. And of those 8 that we've made arrests in, 6 have been domestic related. The other 2 were not. So we out of the 11 homicides we've had, we've made arrests in 8. But we've also made arrests in 5 other homicide cases that happened years past, or some might call those cold cases, cases that are older. And we never stop focusing on those. Some are just cleared or made arrests at a faster rate because we have more evidence, or we have individuals who are willing to come forward. So I just wanted to share that. I talked a little bit about that at the press conference. I don't take lightly at all asking someone to come to court and testify. I get it, and certainly as I've been in this profession longer and longer, it makes you think about it, some understanding. So anyway, when I talk to families, that some will say, well, this case was closed in 2 days, and my case has been open for 7, 8 months, and some cases take years, and I wish they did, but some do. We have different technology today than we had 20 years ago. We have different camera systems than we had 5, 6 years ago. As we keep continuing, that's why we push so hard for community engagement. Technology is so important today, and that comes in all kinds of variations, right? Without over-policing communities, without over-policing neighborhoods. So I just share that with you. I'm going to talk to 2 individuals when I get off this session and just have some conversation with them. And one I've talked to before, the other I don't know if I've talked to. I just want to have some conversation with them, so I'm just going to go back to the office and just talk a little bit. So, but we went over our year numbers. Currently, the city has about an 8% decrease in violent crime. We really focused on the summer of May, June, July, and August. And the reason I included May is we started our partnership with the state police, and we also started, some people call it midnight basketball, night nets, right? Basketball every Friday night at Denby Community Center and at Achievable Dream Tennis Court. So I would usually spend my Fridays for about an hour up at Denby, and then take the drive down to Achievable Dream and spend an hour down there. So we just looked at what crime looked like over the summer months of May, June, July, and August. We looked at the last 3 years, and we just saw it's like 13% decrease over the last 2 summers that we've had, for those same time frames. So we talk, Kelly, we talk a lot about perception, and I certainly understand that. But we just wanted to be open and transparent with where we sit. It's really hard to talk about cases specifically in the media because I don't want to disrupt anything that we have in court. I don't want to disrupt anything that we have in investigations or people coming in, or in cases that we know that we're looking at someone or trying to find that missing piece. But as we rounded out and closed out that press conference, we talked about some strategies. We talked about technology. We talked about community engagement. We talked about focusing on violent offenders. We talked about focusing on firearms. But we also really focused on the last slide. I think were like thumbnails that talked about, it's almost like a big puzzle, and pieces of this puzzle that put together a picture, a frame, if you will, once it's complete. And we just talked about some of our partnerships, like instead of sending an officer as a first responder to a mental health call, that we're sending our CARES team and our partners in the fire department. We talked about our relationship with public schools, sharing information in the community that might end up at a school, or a situation in a school that might end up with the community. I've got a great relationship with Dr. Mitchell and Mr. Stewart with our public schools. We talked about our relationship with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office and community outreach, also community engagement, our city administration, our elected officials, January Serta and the work that she does at our partnerships at Riverside Hospital about early intervention in Centera. We talked about Night Nets, right? Another program that we have. We talked about grassroots organizations that are really doing good work and interacting and trying to intervene or prevent things from happening, or if when something does happen, helping it not to escalate. And I think some of those individuals that are doing the work in the community are just so vitally important, and having good relationships goes a long way. Let me just kind of catch up a little bit. I trust your leadership. I've heard nothing but good things about you, Chief Drew, from Richmond all the way down. Amy Wentz in Richmond said you are super dope, and I said, what did it say? And I second that. Is that? Yeah, yeah. And I go back up just a little bit, Kelly. And I said, well, Amy, a very special person, and I know you and I have talked a little bit too on some issues, and I appreciate you that. I appreciate that from you. Thank you. And Latrice Lewis, we had some conversation with, and she's actually one of the calls I'm going to make today. Wow, it'll get me choked up on here. The community must do our part too. But you're absolutely right. You know, it's all of us. There's so many different parts. Sometimes media will ask me, or people that will interview will ask me, like, "Gee, what do you think the one thing is that's making the most difference?" And I always tell them, I don't care what organization, it's people. It's people that have a heart for other people. It doesn't matter to me what if it's night nets, if it's community outreach, if it's law enforcement, if it's common attorney, police, fire, outreach work, grassroots work. It is the people who do that type of work that care about other people, that aren't doing it for money, that aren't doing it for fame, that aren't doing it for plaques and awards, that are doing it because they care about other people. And I just think that makes the world a difference. So your comment about community do the parts, you're absolutely right. Hey, look.
We were talking to the teacher.
She didn't call me, but she was. Oh, I got you. I got you. I'm just messing with you. Debbie, hi Chief. Great to see you. Hope all is well with you. Thank you for being on here. I appreciate that. It means a lot. I haven't seen you in a while, but I appreciate you monitoring and logging in today. I really do appreciate that.
And she said, Kelly, too.
Wait, she said Kelly too? See, Debbie, I didn't even read that. So Kelly's like, hey Chief. She just kicked me under the table. She said, hey Chief. So yeah, absolutely. Maya. So hey, Samaya, what's going on? I was on this afternoon session, Samaya, and I got some Cameron and Michaela and you chiming in. I will tell you, and then our friends at the foundation, it's pretty cool that we've got high school kids on Chat with the Chief, just having a conversation. Valerie, thank you for being. Wait, scroll down after mine. Is it Valerie? We are better together. You got that right. Yeah, that's for sure. Valerie, thank you for being here. What's the topic about today? Samaya, we're talking about all kinds of good stuff today. But right now, we're just talking about relationship building, and I was talking about, for the people that are logged in right now, we have a young adult police commissioner program. That's a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior from each high school. 6 high schools, it should be 24 kids. And last year we had 40 plus. Now we lose some along the way, and I understand people in sports, but man, I remember that when I walked in that room, I was like, oh my gosh. But we work with them every Wednesday. We take out on the police boat. We do community walks in the neighborhood. We work at the food bank. We have debates, open discussion. We have news outlets come in and talk to us about how to do interviews. We do, what would you call it, Kelly? We go to their individual high schools and do panel discussions, right? And we'll have someone from forensics, someone from maybe from K-9, internal affairs, special victims. Forensic technicians always get the best questions, right? All that NCIS stuff, they always get the best questions. Kelly Wells and others just do a phenomenal job. But I like going to the schools, and the commissioners will help facilitate that discussion. And usually they're a little shy to start out with, but then once conversation starts going on, man, we just really enjoy it. So yeah, it's like somebody says, it's a great program. And I would add this: every 9/11 ceremony, every memorial service, every national night out, right, Samaya? Every national night out, every time an academy class graduates, police recruit graduation, we always have a high school student deliver remarks, make some remarks to the class or the community. And we do that because I'm trying to send a message to the youth of this city that they matter to me, and also a message to the men and women who wear this uniform that youth matter to me. And like Shabbat says, I have to say, we are better together. Right? I learn as much from those young people. I learn new phrases, and they teach me things, and I still can't do all the instant chats and all that stuff. But we have good, open conversations. So when I'm at other events and I see them, they introduce me to their friends, or they talk to other officers, and it's just a really good relationship. I think we have some of the greatest young people in the state. And I'm not just talking about sports and athletics. I'm just talking about good people who are trying to do the right thing. I hear a lot of people talk about some of the people that were on this afternoon, Samaya, were actually in college, and some classes have started already. We were just talking about different things. And it's humbling to me to have high school kids that leave that program and then reach back out to us or come back. And we've got a couple that have joined the police department, a couple that work in administrative positions, and I think we have one that may be in our next academy. So it's just, you never know the lives you touch and the people you meet. You never know what someone else is going through, and yeah, so I appreciate it. So Thank you for those that I didn't mean to get too much into that, but I get choked up when I deal with these kids. They're amazing. Anna, hi Chief. Just to let you know, I'm on Kelly. Make sure that you didn't touch anything. Yeah, look, I didn't. She kicked me under the table. I thank you for looking out for me, Anna, because you're hard on me here. You're hard on me. As we go through, you may hear me ask Kelly, can you scroll back up? The screen may jump a little bit with new posts, but that's okay. We will just adjust it, and I'm in no hurry. Just want to have some conversation with the community tonight and talk a little bit about things going on in the department. I missed it by a minute. Samaya, missed it by a minute. I heard the cars were loading up and rolling out when you decided to show up. But I mean, it's all about making an appearance. So I understand. You were a different time frame. It's okay. It's okay. I was supposed to make the event longer. Oh, it's on me. So yeah, if anybody's watching, see Samaya and me going back and forth. That's usually how it is. Seth, I came to you when July 3rd. I came to you when July 3rd, waited for you after your interview outside of your police station, told you the situation about my children's mother. Yeah, I remember. She kicked me. I remember. I think I remember, Seth. You told me you would go by there yourself and didn't. Seth, make sure you know what you're talking about, my friend. I'm not going to debate you on here, but not just because you didn't see me go by there doesn't mean I go by there. I very well know the situation. You came here. I think you had the two children with you. It's been 3 weeks and 3 days since I spoke to our children. Her probation officer said there's nothing to be done for me to contact Newport News, which I did when I came to you. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to get in details of cases. Did go by there, have talked to different workers and individuals involved with that. So I can't get into, and I should have said earlier, maybe I did, but I can't get into. I think you texted me a few times, and well, yeah, I don't want to. It's okay. I don't want to get in. I can't talk specifics about cases on open sources. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hurt any cases or disclose things that might jeopardize things that are in the works. I know sometimes people don't understand that. I had a conversation with two earlier. I'm going to call both of them actually before I leave today. I told them I would, and I actually have their numbers in my pocket. So, but that's all right. I understand. Let's see. We'll go on to football season starts next Friday. Can't wait to see you. Best Chief. Get out of here. I will be out there though, Smile. I do like going to the football games. I like walking around, just kind of interacting with people, and I'm really excited to see school start back and be at those games. And look, there's one Friday and one Saturday afternoon, so I'll be at both. Police Foundation, thank you for being here tonight. I will tell you, I didn't talk much about it in the last session, but our Police Foundation just does so much. Oh, by the way, that Young Adult Police Commissioner program that I was just talking about, all the great things they do, the Police Foundation funds that. We do the transport, bring the kids here, get them back home, but our Police Foundation, the events, the gala that we have at the end of the year, the food, they do an amazing job, and that program would not be what it is. Because if anybody didn't know, high school kids like to eat, and I learned very quickly that Chick-fil-A is in, and they like this type of food, they don't like that food, and they want it from you. So, yeah. But Police Foundation does an amazing job. That's an organization that individuals donate to. They do different things. They help us with the Pipes and Drums Band. Their big thing is they fund the outreach and community stuff through a lot that we do with youth of our city. They also help us they've done some training for us. We have a great relationship, and it means a lot. We even had an event this summer on an issue of teen violence and gun violence. The two, Samaya and Kayla, kind of orchestrated that, put that together. Our city attorney, myself, and some helped facilitate and logistics-wise. But they really put it together, and it was their idea. And I think it's something to build on. But they have a lot to offer, and I think sometimes we leave youth out of the conversation. The last thing I'll say about the press conference on Friday, I got up to speak. The mayor opened up and welcomed everyone, and I took my turn at the podium, and I looked, and in the front row are 6 high school kids, 6 teenagers. And I was like, man, it's like I got got to be able to get through this, but it was really great. Very active in the community, doing great. Some people may not feel that way because things don't go their way, but just know you have a support and mental health matters. Take time for yourself and time as well. I love you, Chief. Smile, I love you too. Thank you. Even when you got me out there watching young people play soccer, I remember going out to Gethsemane Baptist Church. They were doing some soccer games and stuff with youth, and it was out there. It was just really, it was great. I got a little sunburn, but I got to see a bunch of kids playing soccer and interact. Church does great stuff, great partnerships. Bishop Riddick, I work a lot with him, and he's just such a great partner we have in our community. Can you give families some advice on how to stay safe as children get ready to go back to school, and how they can report strange sightings with buses and things like that? Oh yeah, absolutely. Fun soccer games. Absolutely. It was hot. Mr. I will tell you, it's a great point. Right back to school, and so we actually met on Monday to talk about some things and being at schools, being at some bus stops, seeing and it's really like a lot of officers want to be out. Like now they're like fighting over which school they get to go to and stuff like this. So it's great. So here's some safety tips. First, I would say this: if you see something that is suspicious or you feel it's suspicious, please call 911 and let us know. Right? We're going to have, as our technology continues to improve. There are cameras in a lot of locations on our buses. You know the buses have them. But if you see something that suspicious, you can dial 911. There's going to be plenty of officers out there. But when you talk about that, how to stay safe, also talk to your kids, talk to your children. That make sure that if someone comes up and tries to have a conversation, if they feel uneasy, if that gut feeling, then walk away from it. Right? Go to a neighbor's house or someone that you feel comfortable with, walk with friends. But don't be afraid to call. I would rather somebody call and it be absolutely nothing, as opposed to, well, we saw this vehicle keep circling and stopping. I thought someone else called. I didn't think there was anything to it, and then, God forbid, something happens. So I think that's one thing, just being aware. If you hear rumors, I have a great relationship with Dr. Mitchell in the schools. We share a lot of information. I guarantee you, we'll talk the night before school. We'll talk the morning of. We'll talk during the day and after to see how things go. We'll do that a couple times. But I really appreciate that partnership. But I think it's a big thing. Just being aware. If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. Walk in groups. Walk together. And if you see something and feel, call and let us know. I would rather respond to it, like I said, and it be nothing than not have anything at all. So I hope that kind of, you don't feel like you're bothering the police department. That's what we're here for. And like I said, you will see a police presence and you'll feel it. I really want us to have good support that first week of school. But just be aware of your surroundings. If you see something, say something. If you hear something, I would tell you, you'd be surprised at the number of kids who will send us text messages about things, or they will actually reach out to us. We heard this at school, or heard that at school. And that's not snitching, man. That snitching stuff is so far outdated. It's our communities, it's our kids, it's our people, it's our schools, it's our city. And I think it was you that said we're better together. You're absolutely right. The more people involved, everyone looking out for each other. So I think that makes a world of difference. So it looks like Bakura and are going back and forth. So they are sharing information. That's great. So I hope that addressed. And like if you don't feel comfortable, then telling a teacher when you get to school or a school official. We will have liaisons with each elementary school, and then we have a school resource officer at every high school and every middle school. So I just want to make sure that information flows back and forth. So right around the corner from September 11th, we'll have our 911 ceremony at CNU again. I was just talking with Kelly King earlier about that program and paying respect, remember what happened in 9/11 and to our city, in our country, in New York, the towers that fell, and just kind of highlight and remember that day as we remember those that gave the ultimate sacrifice and those that lost their lives on that terrorist attack. So we'll be doing that again at CNU. President Kelly's been great. to allow us to hold our ceremony there. I so appreciate that. Um, we're looking at having a guest speaker that will come in and just so we don't ever forget. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the memorial up in New York. It's very, very, very humbling. It's very humbling. So we talked about the press conference, talked about the first week of school, talked about some crime numbers. Like I said, the city's currently down about 8% in violent crime. We had a 13% reduction this summer compared to last summer. We didn't do that alone. You know, it's our partnerships we have, and we had a great partnership with the state police, the Bold Blue Line. We worked with some state troopers who are embedded in some of our divisions here in the city through August. And then, of course, we had the different programs, our state, federal, local partners we have, sharing information with the surrounding jurisdictions. We find that, I'm sure, we find that there's a small number of individuals who create some of the majority of violence in our city. And sometimes it's individuals who are not from our cities. They come from different localities, different locations, and probably on some communities that are challenged. And I don't want people to live in fear. I don't want that negative perception. I don't want, so that's why we try to get out and be open and as much transparent as we can. So which why we try to be in the community. And I don't want people to be afraid to call the police. And we've really invested a lot of technology to aid in that because I care about individuals in this city. I care about the kids that live in this city and the men and women who do this job and try to make this city safe in all the different entities. You know, one of the best things about Kelly about going back to school is I get some calls from some elementary schools, and they ask me to come read to the kids in elementary. But I have learned over the years, Rashard Wright was one that taught me, make sure you pick a book out before you go. If not, some of those kids, man, they know those books by memory, and if you skip a word or a page, they let you know it. So, but that's always fun for me. We have our graduation ceremony in October. 14 recruits will graduate from the police academy. We have another 19 that will graduate in February, right as we get into the new year. And then we will start a new academy at the end of October. It's my hope to get about 20 recruits in that class. Now again, it takes about, if you didn't know, for the recruit class, it takes about 7 months to get through the academy. Once they graduate, then they're in field training. They're right with another officer for 3 or 4 months. So we're talking about a year. But I'm very, very thankful that individuals continue to come to this department. The recruiting and recruiting is hard. It's not the number of officers that we're used to seeing, but our department, not comparing us to anyone else, we run about 3 police academies a year, and we're putting somewhere right around 20 people in each class. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about that. And individuals have come here from lateral from other departments. We've had some officers leave and they come back. Sometimes you got to see what things are like somewhere else, I guess, and I understand that. But I'm very, very thankful to the men and women who do this job. Let me get kind of caught up again. Can you scroll up just a little bit? As I catch that's going on? I'll say, what about if students see weapons that they say to their peers about this? So one, it would ask people not to pick any weapons up if they see it again. And that's what, again, if you see something, to call the police, alert an adult, alert a school official to let us know. I don't want the kids picking firearms up. But if they see anything, or they hear there's a gun somewhere, or they hear something's going to happen at school, they're pretty good. I'll say I'm really impressed. A lot of the tips we get come from students, and I think that's all about building relationships, right? We're not picking guns up, taking it to school, and turning it in to call someone and let us know. They talk to their school bus driver, adults, family members, individuals at school. Just if there's anything that you see or anything that you don't feel comfortable with, or something that causes you concern. And I would also encourage young people or students that have conversations with your parents. And I would encourage parents to have conversations with your student. How was school? And I know I don't want, it was cool, it was all right. But have conversations and explain, hey, just want everybody to be safe and other kids to be safe. All of those things make a big deal. Jared, good to have you, my friend. I appreciate that. Joy, good to have you back. I know we talked earlier today. Robin, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Local police and ATF have done a tremendous job with getting guns off the streets through task force. I'm involved with a case where several guns were flooded in the streets, and all of you were on it. Yeah, I think I know a little bit about that one, and you're right. The federal partnerships, the ATF, FBI, the DEA, very, very fortunate here. We have a great relationship with our federal, local partners. I was just over in, where were we at? The naval base across the water. Myself and Chief Cresswell were over there with the Hampton Roads Police Chiefs Association. We talked a lot about things about back to school. We talked about technology, what other departments are doing, what we're doing. We share back and forth with information. And, you know, individuals, right, they don't really know borders. They do different things, move guns different ways. So all those entities working together, again, technology, task forces, all of that plays a big role and is very, 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 very important. So we'll see. We talked about our press conference. We've talked about the 911 ceremony coming up. Excited about that. Police recruit graduation. Talked about crime numbers. Talked about back to school. I think I've hit on the main things I wanted to touch base on. We talked about youth engagement. I think the big thing, of course, is back to school. I had a good day today. It's been a little rushed, but this afternoon I was doing some interviews. Right, we're going to be doing some promotions the first week of September. We did lieutenants promotions a few weeks ago. We're starting now on our sergeants. We have a list for corporals, and then we're going to be doing a captain's promotion. And I want to share with you how we do that in the police department. Let me, Joy, a little late. I was out walking my dog. I found out today is a what?
I don't know. Chauncey?
Had her DNA tested. Oh, okay, Joy. So when we do promotions, the officers do an assessment center. It's graded by independent organizations from other law enforcement departments around the country that have selected individuals to come in and score the officers in this department. And then those individuals are ranked, and then we do an oral interview. And the interview panel, it's usually myself, one of the assistant chiefs, and a community member. So why is that important? So because citizens ask different questions than individuals in uniform. We've had Dr. Lyons and Pastor Maxwell, Karen Witherspoon, they've helped select the last assistant chiefs that we've had in our department. Jennifer Brooks, the president of the NAACP here in Newport News, she sat on our panel and helped select the next leadership of lieutenants. Individual today that works in the enterprise rental car business, she sat on our panel today to help us select sergeants. And then Dr. Cherry, right, used to be on city council, one of our chaplains. She has also helped on past promotional processes. So those are just ones that come to mind right away. I think it's important to have community members on those panels. Again, one, we've already talked about that they ask different questions. But it also sends a message to the individuals who want to be promoted in supervisory positions in our department that not only am I going to talk with the chief and the assistant chief, but the importance of community, right? If we have them on an interview panel to be selected, it should send a message that we're going to be community oriented and inclusive and bring citizens to the table. I think that's very, very important. And it means a lot to me that citizens are engaged in selecting the leadership of the department. So I'm excited about that. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing these conversations, to address questions or concerns that come up. I'm going to go ahead and address it before someone asks. There were some reports that came in about kids that have been abducted in this area around the 7 cities. I remember seeing it. Well, you know what? I didn't see it at first. It came across social media, and you know what? The first call I got, Kelly, the first message was from a teenager. Like, Chief, is this true? And I was like, what are you talking about? I haven't, I get updated on crime every Monday and every Thursday. And when they told me where it was found, it took me a little bit to find it, but I looked at this report, and I'm like, I know that's not right. We don't have that number of kids that have been abducted like that in our city. And it was about, what, Kelly, 2 days later, I think the state police put out a report. But that scares people, and I get it, because it startled me. Like, I haven't seen that. So our friends at the state police, they have what's called a state fusion center, where departments all around the state of Virginia will send information in to our fusion center, and then that information is put out to all departments across. So So I was really thankful because I knew that was not our numbers. I verified it when I got to work. I actually was talking with Chief Creswell today. We don't have any missing children in our city that anything surrounded with danger or abduction. There's just none of that. So I wanted to look at. I did ask, what are our numbers, right? How many reports do our special victims? How many reports do we take of runaways, and how many do we take of missing individuals, and then certainly how many missing that are juveniles? So on the missing persons, we took 120 reports, 120 different missing person reports. Of those, we don't have any missing individuals that are juveniles, that are 17 or under. None. We do have, out of that 120, we have 8. Now, of those 8, we know where 4 are. I've got it right here. We know where 4 are. 3 have been verified through technology, but we want to put our eyes on them as well. And then we actually have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 1 that is located, and the system hasn't been updated. It'll be updated tonight at midnight. And then there are 2 out of 120. There are 2 adults that have been reported missing that we have not found. We don't know. Out of 120, there are 2. Neither one of those are juveniles. In our runaways now, and the difference between we say missing and runaway is we haven't associated any danger. Like we don't feel like they're abducted. There's in the reports, right, or there's been some argument at home or some argument with family, or they're mad at something, or they don't want to do something and they have run away. Usually most runaways are found within 2 or 3 hours, sometimes 5 or 6 hours. A lot of times they're found at a friend's house and there's been some type of argument, and I get it. Last count, this year so far we've taken 308 reports of individuals that have run away from home. Of those, we have located 96.7% of those individuals. We actually, out of 308, there are 10 individuals right now, 10 individuals that in the system show as still being a runaway. Now, sometimes when we talk about this danger associated with that, it always concerns me if I don't know where someone is. When I look at that number of reports, oh, wow, 308 reports, we found everybody but 10. But there's still 10, right? So, but there's sometimes it's just being honest and transparent. When we talk about runaways, sometimes it's families that are frustrated. Son runs away, we bring him back. 2 days later, runs away again and bring him back. Sometimes there are I'm with a boyfriend and girlfriend and I'm bringing back home. So there is some of that. A lot of that is repeated. But when we looked at today, I just like when we were doing interviews, I was like, Chief Creswell, can you take a look at that? He was like, I already got it, Chief. I was ahead of the game for you. He said, I know that might come up. So just really wanted to have that conversation and look at, do we have anyone missing that we believe is abducted or in danger? And there are 2 out of 120 that we have not found, but they are adults. They're not juveniles. And of the 308 runaways, which is not associated or have not been reported, and some may say, well, just because it's a runaway doesn't mean it's not in danger. I'm not saying that either. Always concerned about it. But when I look at the individual cases, the runaways are repeat offenders and individuals that are having some conflict, and some we know where they are, we just haven't got them back home yet. Family, friends, ex-boyfriends or boyfriends, girlfriends, that type of thing. But as far as abducted and children just being snatched, we're not seeing that in our city. And I think the state police did a good report. But I also get that people talk. You say things and people repeat that. And so I'm glad that they did report. I think, Kelly, we had a couple calls, I believe, some reporters here. And I just wanted to try to be open and transparent about that, about those 2 type of reports. So if you look at the 308 and 120, you're talking about about 425 reports altogether. We separate them into 2 categories for a reason. And which ones do we know are associated with danger? Which ones are, hey, they didn't come home, or unsure, or hey, there's been some type of argument and they ran away, they won't come back, and we need the police to go get them, or they're at their friend's house or dad's house in another jurisdiction, those type of things. Where did I leave off at? Robin, good evening. Wait, Robin's saying good evening to you.
Thank you.
Well, Robin, I appreciate that. Kelly is smiling now. She's all happy now. Jared, long live the Jared. I don't know about that. I will tell you this, Jared. The people who deserve the credit are the citizens, the people that put in the work, and the men and women who are out there doing this work day in and day out, right? That are patrolling our streets, responding to calls for service. Well, a lot of us are home asleep, right? And I am so thankful that we still have men and women who want to do this job. We don't always get it right, man. We make mistakes, and that's because we're human. I don't know of anybody that was perfect. Only one, right? Only one. But I think it's okay to say, we didn't get it right this time, or we missed this, or we didn't notice that. I found out today that we were able to locate a firearm that we had been looking for a while. I'm thankful that some individuals came forward and gave us some tips on where a firearm might be located. We were able to find that. But it's okay. We don't always get it right, and we're not going to. What we try to do is better today than we were yesterday. And you heard me say before, we have to be better tomorrow than we are today. It comes to continue with training, building relationship, fostering partnerships, trying new things, investing in technology, being progressive, seeing what works in other jurisdictions, sharing what's working in our jurisdiction. We learn from each other, debriefing, right? Because we start planning, after our summer's over in August, in September, we'll start planning for next summer. And back to school, right? We started talking about that a couple weeks ago and putting plans into place this week about with school starting. When we look at the different holiday seasons, where was our crime like in September, October, November? What did our crime look like the last quarter of the year, and how do we get ahead of that? What neighborhoods had some negative impacts this time frame last year? Where do we need to put some resources at? So it's all of that about being prepared, building relationships and partnerships. I certainly saw that this weekend. All the different entities that were out, and that does. Several people have talked about it here. That we are better together. It does make us better. There are just some special things, I believe, going on in this city, and I'm very thankful to work here. I'm also humbled. I appreciate the relationship currently have with our city manager, Mr. Archer, Bo Clayton, Sabrina, who's new on board, and conversations we've had. I appreciate our mayor and vice mayor, our elected officials. I'm bothering in the middle of the night and sharing information with them, or calling them early in the morning about a situation, giving them updates. And they ask some hard questions, and that's fair. What are we doing about this? What's the latest? What do we have? Make sure they update, and believe it or not, right? Things change. So I'll get a phone call, and then I'm headed to the scene. And by the time I get to the scene, it's 2 or 3 different things. It's a twist and turn. So we just expect that. We as new information comes in, but I'm thankful to have those partnerships and relationships, not only from our elected officials, but our city administration, the partnerships that we have with code enforcement, our city attorney's office, Commonwealth Attorney's Office, all these entities working together to address things. I was talking to my friend Kim just the other day in Human Services, when we were talking about a particular case about making sure that we had the right information before we went to take it to the next steps, and make sure the Commonwealth Attorney's been updated, and we're not just going to, let's just advise warrants or take out warrants or just do the report. We're spending time investigating on what we actually have, present that our findings to each other and the Commonwealth Attorney's Office to see which direction that we need to go. So those things, it matters, right? Being thorough matters. Taking that extra time, that extra effort. It was funny, a lot of the individuals being interviewed today talked about that. But, it is so important to build relationships in our community. There are 484 officers that we're allowed to have in our city. A city of almost 200,000 citizens, and that's not to mention how we swell with all the businesses, especially in the shipyard. That's like its own city inside the shipyard. The things that they're building and the people that work there. It's so important to have those relationships and individuals investing in communities as well. And we can't do it. We can't do it alone. You can't work in silos. It has to be. It has to be driven from community leaders and different organizations that we're going to work together and share information keep our citizens, our community, and our kids safe. Um, Linda, I'm sorry, Linda. Usually ask about your parents, whom I hope are still doing well. How are the grandkids? Hope you they get to spend a good time with them. Well, I will tell you, Linda, I appreciate that. I need to go home and see them at some point. They're in Cincinnati. I want to make sure. My last excuse was I want to get through the end of the school year and go to all the high school graduations. And then my last excuse was I want to get through the summer. So you're absolutely right. Um, and I will tell you, I get a lot of individuals I work with tell me, Chief, go home and check on your family, and they're absolutely right. So my mom and dad are in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm fortunate my sister is there. We got 5 grandkids up there that they're all over. Um, I don't know about, they certainly treat those grandkids different than they did when I was growing up. My sister was always a favorite. But no, they're doing well. I get to talk to them and see them, and I do plan to go home and see them here in the next month or two before the holidays and just spend some time with them. But I do want to I want to be here when school starts that first week, catch some of those football games, and just interact with our kids as they go back to school. But I appreciate you asking, and I absolutely will. Thank you for that. Latrice, we need cameras out on Traverse Lane. I don't want to talk about where they are and are not located. But I'll tell you, Ms. Lewis, it's interesting you said that. We were just having a conversation with the Chiefs Conference. The Chiefs meeting last week, we were over across the water, over in, where were we at? Over the Navy Station, over across the water. And we were talking about that, and there are some entities that really are like, oh, it's Big Brother. You're putting up more and more cameras, but I will tell you, we have a lot of checks and balances. We're not using it to. I don't want cameras in the schools to see what's being served for lunch. I don't want cameras in the hospitals to watch surgeries take place. But I would like to know who gets dumped out of a car that might have overdosed on fentanyl. I'd like to know who left them there. I would like to know if there's, God forbid, something happened in the school or someone who's suspicious around the school and where those individuals are at. And so I join you that I'm very much the more cameras we have, not to do any recording and listening to conversations, but that when their crime is committed, when something happens, that we're able to go into those cameras and download that information. And whether they're cameras at businesses, right, or Ring doorbell cameras, it's not to spy on people at all. There's no Big Brother aspect. We have very elaborate. Why did someone pull up this camera? What was the scene? What was the time? What was the date? What was the location? What's the offense number? Who was the officer that did it? And why? Right? Why? Hey, you know what? There was a shooting. There was a robbery. There was someone's house that was vandalized, and this vehicle left the scene. And we're able to see the license plate. That doesn't tell us who's driving the car. That doesn't tell us who did or may not have done the incident, the act, if you will. But it does tell us if that license plate comes back, we're able to determine who that license plate. Then we can go knock on the door and have a conversation, and you start an investigation that way. Or if something was thrown from the vehicle, that helps us, and that's kind of how this thing came out today of some evidence recovery. So I really appreciate you saying that. We certainly look at that. I know we do a study about every 3 weeks about where we need more cameras at. The city's been very gracious financially. We have some systems where we can now plug into cameras that are already up at different businesses and have immediate access. That's with our real-time crime center. But I don't want people to think it's about Big Brother at all. We are looking at new technology that will even speed things up faster, that we can see what's going on in a locality. We'd see a neighborhood or something that has occurred, and we can get there. They will get there faster than a police car. And then officers can, on their phones, take a look at it and say, "Hey, this is what I'm walking into." So many times, something occurs, officers are called, and we may get there within 3 minutes, but the individual we're looking for may be walking away, and we're just getting to the scene to find out information. What if we were there in about 45 seconds and could follow the individual that had committed this act, right? That citizens are telling us on the phone, white male wearing a blue shirt, a blue tie, and got some stripes on his sleeve, and officers see that individual right away, and they see that, oh, he walked off the street and into a store. right? So it's just being smarter. So I really appreciate that. And I join with you as we look at locations where we need to put new cameras to make our city safe and try to intervene before things escalate or respond quicker and more efficiently when something does happen. And I will tell you, our city management and our elected officials talk a lot about technology, and working smarter.
You skipped Bear.
Who does get no, I got Bear, right? You're doing a fabulous job.
I'm sorry.
Yep, no, it's okay. Hunter, right? Bear Hunter, right?
Yes.
Latrice had the stuff on Traverse Lane. Somebody compiled their evidence. You understood big ups better than tears and tearing down. But Jared, I appreciate that. At the end of the day, I think leadership is all about dealing with people. And sometimes you don't know what people are going through. We talk a lot about that on traffic enforcement, traffic stops. Not everybody who gets pulled over has to get a ticket, right? Not everybody that we come in contact with. You just don't know what's going on in people, right? That's why we have this CARES team with the fire department, a clinician and a paramedic that respond when someone might be in some type of mental crisis. They might respond a little better than seeing someone in uniform with a firearm and a police radio and all this stuff and a badge on. They may be going through depression or have their medication mixed up, or maybe not have taken medication, or not have the right dosage, or they might be in a state of just self-worth doubt, whatever it might be, and to have clinicians there that can come, and we can be in the background, right? We can be out in the parking lot, but not be the first responders. And I certainly don't want people to ever be injured, and we have had a couple that have gotten physical with some of our responders there, but for the most part, I think that CARES program is amazing. Individuals that might be suffering from mental illness. We continue to train officers in that, but I like having that program, and I hear on the radio, hey, we're going to this call, here's the situation, is there any CARES units available? I like that. When officers are reaching out and asking, hey, before I go and pull up to this call, are there any CARES teams available? You just never know what people are going through in situations, and it's really, we're in the service of people. We deal with people, and that's why I say none of us are perfect. These patches and this badge doesn't make us better than anybody else. We all make mistakes, right? And try to work things together and do the best we can for our community and our citizens. Kelly, have I talked too long? Are we doing okay? We got a few.
We're caught up.
We're all caught up with comments. We got about 5 more minutes.
Mm-hmm. We started a little bit early, so.
We did start a little. I was early today. I was a little bit late this afternoon because of those interviews, but that's important. I would just close out today that I really want to thank the men and women who do this job day in and day out, who work around the clock. We walk around with a body-worn camera in our vest that records every conversation and every interaction we have. I look around the country at things that are happening in law enforcement and things that we're called. We don't pick political sides. We are in the business of people, interacting, trying to calm situations down, listening to them the best we can with what we're called to. We not going to make everyone happy. It's nothing personal, but the men and women who dedicate themselves serving others 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that are working through the night, our dispatchers, the work that they do, I think they're the true first responders. That they're able to get information as people call in and try to assess that and calm people down. And while they're talking, they're typing and sending the information out to officers, right, about, hey, this is the location. That's just vital. They do a phenomenal job. Laura down there does a great job. Val in the training side of the house. Our dispatchers are just to hear. One of the things when we have cases, we'll get a copy of the tape, and you hear how calm dispatchers are talking to officers who aren't always the nicest on the radio when things get elevated. But we also hear dispatchers talking to citizens and calming them down, like, we're getting someone to you. Just keep talking to me. Just keep talking to me. Tell me that you're okay. Tell me what you're seeing. What are you hearing? They do phenomenal work. Our forensics teams that process crime scenes that I wish no one ever had to see. And I don't mean just responding. I mean hours taking photographs, collecting evidence, putting the crime scene kind of back together, if you will. All those things. And officers that are field training, our newest officers who graduated, field training officers who will inherit the new class that graduates here in just a couple weeks. I appreciate the work that you guys do day in and day out. You deserve all the credit. I get calls, emails from pastors that tell me that they're praying for the city, they're praying for our department, they're praying for the officers, they're praying for safety. And being a man of faith, I think that's important. I think we are so blessed in this city. I think we have great working relationship, great partnerships, and all of that makes a difference. So I'm just thankful, and I'm appreciative of the work that men and women do that they're out there doing right now, right? You never know, guys. I'll tell you directly to the officers. You never know the lives you touch and the difference you make. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 years later. Sometimes it's just a text message. Hey, 5 years ago you helped me with this, or I just wanted to reach out and this officer chief helped my son, or one of the comments today in one of the interviews that we had was a sergeant who talked about community relationships, and he had got a call from a citizen talking about an officer who took a little bit extra time with a young female who was just frustrated with life, and sit down and had a conversation with her. And he said, Chief, when this individual called me and just shared this conversation with me, it made me proud as a sergeant, and it makes me proud as a chief. Right? That's the type of department that we want. Let me get caught up, Robin. Stay safe. Looking forward to watching you next month. Robin, thank you. I appreciate you. We sure are bad cops that do bad things, make their job worse for the good. So true. We are, scroll back up for me, I'm sorry. We also have good cops that make mistakes because they're human. Wow, that's true. They deserve forgiveness. And we have phenomenal cops who say they don't want. We'll get it.
I'm going to get in hard last minute here.
It's okay. All right.
Everybody's saying good night.
We have cops who say they don't always get it right, but together we can do this. People, we just unite. Wow. Here, I might post that and put that on my door. Hope you don't have a copyright to that phrase. Anna, good job. Keep your hands on the equipment. You both. Oh, keep your hands off the equipment. Thanks, Anna. I appreciate that. Jared, you're killing me. You're killing me. But lovely. I appreciate you guys taking some time. I know life's busy, and some may look at these conversations and make posts later on, which is fine. That's what we do. And running around, I can't imagine today. One of the individuals I work with, both are kids. Well, several individuals. Their kids playing sports, and they're running all over the place, and they care so much about. They're afraid to leave. Like, we don't want to leave the phones. We don't want to leave. Chief, do you have this? We have that. And I know that kids are late for practice or got to be at practice, and they're up late and they're back in here in the morning. I'm just very, very appreciative. Dominique, Amanda, Brittany, you guys do amazing work. My friend Tabitha, who keeps me straight on the finances, like, Chief, we got to watch this, we got to watch that, but we can make this happen. Somehow she does. Somehow she does. I'm just appreciative, guys. It is great working with you all, the 3 assistant chiefs that can run any department in this country. I'm very, very blessed, and I appreciate our citizens who took the time to hang out with me tonight. So please, listen, be safe, be careful. We got school starting next week. Hope to see you. Got some of you at Todd Stadium. Hope to see a lot of you at our 911 service, 9/11 service, and our graduation. Watch our Facebook page, right, Kelly? We're going to post when graduation is. It's right around the corner, and yeah. So I am excited. Again, thank you. Be safe. God bless you guys, your families. Let's have a great school year, and let's finish our year strong through the holidays. All right, take care. We'll do this again next month. God bless.